Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to LEGOthon. We have a fun run right here. It's going to be LEGO the Hobbit Restricted NLE. What restricted means, real quick, is we're going to be running the game on 60 FPS, so the VSync on option sort of changes up the category a little bit. Today in the booth with me, I have Captain Paxo.
Hello, hello.
Alright, and yeah, he's going to be helping commentate, so I can go ahead and get the run started soon. Unfortunately, due to a weird quirk, the time doesn't start for just a little bit here. So I'll go ahead and start this cutscene. It'll start as soon as I skip this cutscene in about 30-ish seconds. But yeah, the reason that we're running restricted NLE is because this game has a lot of frame rate dependent, like high frame rate dependent tricks. They take a lot of FPS to do. So when you do a restricted category like this, it keeps it all on an even playing ground for everyone. So time, or the timer start will be coming up here as soon as I load into the level. So it'll be 3, 2, 1. And start.
Okay, good luck, good luck. So, what we'll see straight away with Hamster here is a few little small optimizations, namely with the number of attacks going on with Thorin to be able to build this structure. And then we'll see a precise positioning here with P2 to be able to hit the quest marker as early as possible. And then we can make our way through into the next room.
Yeah, this room is a very expansive, or this level is very expansive. There is a lot to, I believe it's 8 rooms. So we're just going to be making our way through. Doing a little corner cut there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to do this kind of chicken dinner kind of sequence where we just spawn some chicken to distract the guards, but I think already at this point we can start talking about what's going to happen in the next room. Because in the next room we have one of the biggest skips in the run, which is known as Gem Skip. It saves probably about 2 minutes on its own. And what we've got to do is basically convince one of the AI characters to get past the activation trigger to close the doors at the far end of this room. So we'll see this here. Hamster is going to run and drop out at the right time with player 1. And makes it over to the other side like so. And just like that is able to skip the trigger, which closes those doors so we can go straight through it. And that skips about a 2-minute run.
It does, yeah. It saves quite a bit of time.
And then we get introduced to some of the smaller mechanics in this game's here, which is the materials. So for any kind of big build or anything, we need to look for the right amount of resources to be able to use them. Normally you have your main materials, which are wood, rock, stone, and leather. But there's also some other more niche ones like gems, which we're going to see Hamster mining for here. And yeah, like gold, silver, that kind of thing. We have these mining animations where Hamster is aiming to hit the middle every single time, because that destroys each rock in 1 hit rather than taking 3 hits. And then we have this build menu, and these build menus are very unique to this game, but what you've got to do is select the right piece. The piece is always consistent, but the order of the pieces in this kind of wheel of 8 is always different. So Hamster kind of half searches, half mashes to be able to find the right piece each time. Then we have a few more mining stuff that Hamster's got to do here. And then we go into a very big skip in the next room as well, which is known as barrier skip. And this one is, again, it's another interesting skip. Hamster's going to hold right on spawning in with player 2. Because player 2 gets movement earlier than player 1, and player 2 therefore can jump over the barrier before the barrier is fully formed. So we'll see if Hamster can do it here. Very nicely done.
Yeah. That invisible wall does not form until like it just spawns in late, I guess I'd say, and it makes it a lot nicer um, to do that skip if you like time it in a very precise sort of way. But thankfully we got it there. And,
Yeah, that's a nice one to kind of settle the nerves, I guess.
Yeah. Saves quite a bit of time to hit that. There is another skip that you can do as you back it to back it up if you miss it. But yeah, and now we have another very cool skip. Very unique to the run. I don't think we see this tech anywhere else.
Yeah, so what Hamster's going to do here is going to be jumping on basically the kill plane. It's like a quicksand kind of mechanic, but made of gold for this section. And what Hamster's going to be doing is using this buddy up state, which is an intended mechanic, but by buffer jumping and holding neutral when coming into contact with the ground, Hamster's able to get a jump off this kind of kill plane surface, this quicksand surface, and is able to just skip the entirety of the section. So yeah, very nicely done. That was very clean.
Yeah. And you saw I was sort of 1p2c'ing. 1p2c is a big part of this category. We'll see some levels where sort of we just do some skips with one player, and some levels where we're 1p2c'ing the entire time in order to sort of speed things up. But I was grabbing some materials there, and the materials, especially for this first half of the game, are incredibly important. You need to really plan ahead and make sure you're hitting the material numbers that you need so you don't get stuck in a level having to continuously farm them. But yeah, just like that, that is the first level done. A very cool level. And now we head into an unexpected party. This is a sort of shorter one, but kind of a different feel for sure. But a very cool level all the same.
Yes, yeah, it's a very different style of level, I guess, compared to this one. But we're going to see Hamster's got to make a short trip to Bag End to be able to just enter the level, and then from there we'll continue into the level itself. Also, you'll note on all these overworld sections, Hamster will be grabbing resources, and these resources, especially your wood, your rope, are just absolutely vital for like late game stuff. So you're not forced to farm bushes at any point, really. I think especially there's a lot of overworld sections which require a lot more resources than you just get playing through normally, but Hamster's trying to mitigate them as best as possible. We have some 1p2c here where Hamster's basically doing stuff so that the rest of the party of dwarves will arrive. So we can see on the left hand side, which is the important thing, Hamster's going through and collecting some resources. There's a lot of resources you need to get in this level. I believe it's 20 wood and then 10 of some of the others or something. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. And the other thing is the materials are very easy to get in this level, so it's nice to actually just go ahead and get these fast materials in this level rather than get some in slower spots later down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to note though is you'll never get soft-locked in a level not having the right materials. You will always make sure that you have... the game will respawn certain objects to make sure that you can still access the materials you need. Which is quite a nice touch, yeah, because otherwise I'd imagine a lot of casual players would have got soft-locked. But we got this final section before we move into kind of the next part of the level, which is just prepping some stuff for the dinner table. You see Hamster's able to do the 1p2c for that. And then we have a very, again, unique tech here. So what we're going to see from Hamster is basically section is a series of quick time events where you're meant to press the right button at the right time to be able to progress things. But if you drop out the character that's meant to be doing the quick time event, it will skip them and immediately like progress on to the next character, which saves, I want to say it's like 5-10 seconds per dropout.
It's not quite that much. I think it saves 25 seconds overall, but it is quite a bit of time. I think
it's
yeah. I mean, if there's 10 dropouts total, and it's a 2.5 to 3 seconds per dropout that you do, so
right. Still very much worth it though for such a
for an
simple
auto for what would be an auto scroller as well. Like there's no way to speed this up otherwise. And just like that, the level is over.
Yeah, so we're already 2 levels down. I guess at this point, should probably explain how this game is structured. So this game follows the first 2 of the 3 Lego Hobbit films. The third film was originally meant to be made as a DLC, but got cancelled, unfortunately, midway through production. So instead, this game is only comprised of the first 2 films, but each film therefore has 8 levels. So we play 16 levels total in this category. As we're playing NLE or no levels early, then it means in total, yeah, we will be playing all 16 levels in order. Any percent now gets by with technically only playing 1 level and 1 room, but yeah, we obviously have to do a lot more than that. So we'll see Hamster making his way over to the next level. This is a long walking section, but it's again a huge potential to collect as many resources as he possibly can. And Hamster will be looking for a specific, I believe it's a specific house or set of houses which has
Yes, I will. Ignore
yeah.
these silly little deaths. The camera can be a little tricky to deal with sometimes over here. But, there we go. So yeah, we gotta go in this house, and this house, again, is the perfect spot. Has tons of materials. It has the food items that we're gonna need for some later sections. Plenty of wood. And ideally, we're at around 20 wood here.
Yeah, might have to wait a little bit with Gandalf before entering the trigger for the next section, but it's going to pay off in the long run, so it's not... You know, you'd rather take the time loss here to wait a little bit longer than to be stuck waiting for a bush to respawn multiple times later on.
Yeah. Alright, now we have a new tech that I don't think... Yeah, we have not seen yet, and this is going to be a staple for the rest of the run. And that
Very
is
nice.
a buddy up launch. That was a very good launch. But yeah,
Yes.
by using the buddy up mechanic, which we haven't seen any of yet because we skipped all of it that you use casually. Yeah, I guess, I don't know the best way to explain it, but basically small characters are able to team up together if you press B, and that allows them to sort of team up together. They have more powerful attacks, and it also gives you the ability to do a buddy up launch, and what that is by wedging yourself in between an object or two objects, you can sort of use the momentum that the buddy up animation provides to launch yourself upwards if you stick yourself in between 2 objects in a pretty specific way. And so that is just one really good example of it.
Yeah, I think I like to think of it as the way that the devs could justify having, you know, however many hobbits or however many dwarves in the party at any one time, is bringing them together to use the power of friendship to be able to take on certain obstacles. But in doing that, what they unintentionally created was 2 of the most broken techs in this game.
Exactly.
With buddy up launching, which is what we just saw with Hamster, where you have basically 2... Oh, that's interesting. There we go. Where you have 2... my brain is not working. Where you try and do the buddy up initialization with an obstacle in the way, and then a launch is able to happen from there, and you can gain a decent amount of height with that. The other one, which we'll be able to see in a bit, is hovering, which is a very nice tech as well, where you can basically gain pretty much infinite horizontal distance in this game, as long as there's not an obstacle in your way. You can go as far as you want using this buddy up mechanic, but we'll explain more of that later.
Yeah, and I will point out there is a little cool cutscene skip, or camera, I guess it's kind of a camera pan skip that I did there. And that's by running into the wall that you have to break with the buddy ups while you are buddying up. For some reason, it allows you to skip sort of these longer camera pans to see if I'm able to get it here. Oh, unfortunately, it took a death. But it usually there's a long camera pan when you break that wall just, by running into the wall as you buddy up. You're able to skip. It's just sort of a cool, smaller micro optimization.
Yeah, when you get the chance, your mic is doing the thing again.
Alright, hopefully that's better.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, that is indeed a small micro optimization. One thing you can also do here, which you can kind of do it whether you want to or not, like unintentionally, is just farming leather from the orcs. Because you kill so many orcs, and the main thing that orcs drop is leather. We also see another small optimization from Hamster here, trying to get a vertical buddy up, which is a state you can get the buddy up characters in. It's a little bit rarer, I think, than the horizontal. And there's some weird conditions for initializing it. But we see Hamster's able to get it there. And basically deposit player 2 up on the next section.
Yeah, it's a tech that you don't see in most speedrun categories. It's called a buddy drop. But because we're playing restricted, we don't have as many ways to gain height as we would in a different category. So thankfully, we have this cool tech that we get to see a couple times. Not everyone knows about it, but it allows us to gain some height early. We're actually going to use it again over here. Uh-oh. Sort of at an awkward point where they're both dying at different times. But
yeah,
this one also skips a long puzzle right here.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go all the way over to the right normally and use your flail for different things and such, but you can just happily drop off Dwellin at the very top. We haven't, I guess, spoken that much about character abilities because most of the things we've been doing so far are skipping, but each of the dwarves, or most of the dwarves, are designed to have different abilities, which we'll point out at different parts during the run. Dwellin, for example, has a big hammer, which is used to hit things, and then I can't remember what the name of the other dwarf is that has the flail.
Dory.
Dory, that's it. But yeah, there's loads of different things. Crossbows, shovels, slingshots, I believe. Some of them can stack into a tower. But yeah, that's kind of the intended way that you can use all of the range of dwarves. But if we can skip it, we will. And we'll see we're already done with the 3rd level. Now, I believe there's a little bit of a track and also a build we need to do, maybe? Oh no, the build can probably be skipped now, right?
We are going to skip the build with the hover, yeah.
Yep.
So we will see our first use of the hover tech here.
Yes. So that means I can explain it. This hover tech is a very interesting oversight from the devs. Basically, normally what the game will do, once you end a hover, the game will check if you're kind of above a ground. Above a piece of ground or on the piece of ground. If you're above it, then it will drop you down and you like fall down to where the ground is. But if you happen to not be holding a directional input, so holding neutral when the hover or when the attack animation of the buddy up ends, then the game will not check as to whether you've actually fallen, whether you're actually above the ground or not, and therefore you can just hover infinitely without losing any height, and that's a very big skip, or very big tech that's used in a lot of places in this category.
Yeah, the less in these restricted categories, when you don't have the same means to launch as far or as high, or you don't have the same tech, you do sort of have to use some of these other techs that were found a lot earlier in the game's history. And they become really useful in the category like this. This is our first forced rolling section. This is a kind of common thing that we have in a lot of these sections, or in a lot of these games. So yeah, our movement is kind of limited, but thankfully we'll see there's actually, it allows some really cool movement opportunities that we'll see coming up in some future sections here.
And yeah, again, we get to see the unique abilities of each character getting showcased a bit more there. For example, Bilbo being able to fish, and I want to say, is it Ori the one that has the
Ori,
slingshot?
yeah.
Yes, let's go.
We can actually see like one example of the movement optimization there, using his spin attack move and holding it through the cutscene, not releasing it until the troll moves out of the way. And now we just start rolling over back to this other side. We freed one pony, and now we have to free this other one to end this room.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you only need to free this second pony, technically, to be able to progress the level. The first pony doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but the only thing it kind of does is clears the way for you to be able to get over to the other side. In regular no levels only, we can skip that and get over to that side, but unfortunately not something we can do in restricted at the moment.
Yeah, finding a way to skip this in restricted would save quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
So
What we will see instead, though, is Hamster, I believe, will be trying to collect some gold as well as some other resources in this section as well, because you do need a decent amount of gold for one of the builds coming up, I believe, for the Troll Horde entry.
yeah, and actually we're going to use some of the resources in this final room of this level too. But yeah, we will be collecting some gold is right here in this chest. Need to do this. Perfect. And thankfully I got a lot of it in the first level. There's a lot of gold and gems to spare that become useful later in that level. But yeah, it's always helpful to use some extras. So yeah, just continuing to 1v2 see this. Looks like we have 18 and we're going to need... It's either 15 or 20. But thankfully we can grab some of this extra...
I believe it's 20, but better to be safe than sorry anyway.
Yeah. Thankfully there is some very easy gold to get, but needing too much is really bad. So we should have plenty now. Don't have to worry about it. Now we can just worry. We are low on stone, which is something that I noticed. But yeah, fighting this last troll over here. And now we're going to go into another forced rolling section, and this is where we're really going to see some of the movement capabilities of some of these people. So flails and a bomber are very useful in these forced rolling sections, because they let you move a lot farther with their chain attack abilities. It's much faster than the rolling, which is your next fastest option. So we'll see. This is just like how slow rolling is. The flail lets you move very fast, and we're going to actually intentionally use Bomber over to get to this side because he can move just way faster than any other character in these forced rolling sections.
Yeah, the movement animation for Bomber is just, it's insanely fast. I mean, he basically just chains your normal rolls together, but
yeah,
in one single animation, and I think just generally faster movement speed anyway.
Yeah. And then you intentionally move into the area there because he has a very long recovery animation from that move. So by running into the area that pushes you back, it actually cancels that and allows you to continue to move faster afterwards. So yeah, there's a lot of depth to the movement.
Yeah, but now we have this quick building section. I think Hamster is taking it a little bit slower than normal, trying to get as little incorrect guesses as possible to make sure we have enough studs for purchasing Peter Jackson when we do.
Yeah. We will make a visit to the bonus level anyways, but I forgot you can swap to him early on this one.
Oh yeah.
Not a huge time loss, but... Alright, that is level 4 down. We are halfway through this first movie already. We have another very interesting level here. This is a 1P2C gauntlet, I would say. A lot of... the whole time, basically, you are doing some 1P2C, so... See how well I can execute that. And even beforehand, we also have some difficult 1P2C.
Yeah, so beforehand your 1P2C is mainly just trying to open the door to be able to access the level. But the door is locked behind quite a big build. So obviously the first thing is to make sure that you have enough resources for it. Which it looks like Hamster's just short. You can tell when you have enough resources for when the arrow points onto the like activation pad to be able to build it. I can't remember specifically what you need here.
Yeah,
I just know you need a lot of it.
That one specifically. I should be almost good. We don't
Short
have
on
enough copper. Yeah. So I can go ahead and put the rest of these in. Copper, there we go. We are going to need some copper later, so I'm actually going to take the time to get some copper now. Alright, and now... Yeah, copper, especially in this category, you run out very quick if you're not careful. We're going to need it for 2, maybe 3 more builds left. Yeah, very important to make sure I'm not running too low. We kind of got unlucky in the first level, actually, not getting any copper mining spawns to collect. So we'll see if we get lucky with another copper spawn over here. We will need this specific material later on, so we'll harvest this before we enter the level. And it doesn't look like we have any... Yep, not useful. Alright. There is one hidden in that bush, and sometimes you get really lucky. But yeah, now we have some more tough 1P2C going on here.
Yeah, so this 1P2C is, well, it's just a lot of it really. But what Hamster's got to make sure is to basically access these 3 different chests, but also it's not just accessing them, it's making sure the right character opens each one. So one of them is for Gandalf, one of them is for Thorin, and one of them is for Bilbo. So Hamster's already got Gandalf's one done, and is currently feeding Bomber to be able to access, I believe that's Thorin's one, and then we'll go into the dark area to be able to start work on collecting Bilbo's chest as well. So we can see on the right side of the screen, we're using the kind of flail with Dory to be able to swing across to the other side to be able to effectively clear the way so that Thorin can then make his way up.
Yeah, if we're lucky, we can jump up there. We're going to hit this, activate this camera pan while we're building to overlap those two. And now we are going to overlap these 2 chest opens as well. Honestly, not too bad 1P2C. I haven't practiced that in quite some time, so it went pretty well.
That was solid. Very solid.
And now we head into the second room. The second room is even harder. So, yeah, we have to free these 5 rabbits. Roscabel rabbits.
Yep. So we now have access to Radagast as well. Radagast has this kind of nature healing property, which we use a lot of. But yeah, we've got to heal basically 5 of these rabbits. And you are kind of bottlenecked by Radagast a bit here, but you're also bottlenecked by quite a major build that you've got to do. I remember when I was first running this game, every single time I'd have to like wait for the bush to respawn specifically to collect wood, I think, more times than not.
Thankfully, we don't have to get any more wood. Now we just need to... The route for this room is very weird. Usually there's a skip you can do with VSync off, but... not something that's possible, so it changes the routing for this level, makes the bottlenecking a lot more awkward. And now we can do this build over here. We do have enough, thankfully. So my planning really paid off there. Made sure we had enough materials. And that
Yeah,
saves
it's
quite
so
a bit of
easy to
time.
just yeah, so easy to just spiral into time loss for that section in particular.
Yeah.
But we will see here another build. This is to build a contraption which like lowers one of the rabbits down.
Yeah, this final one is stuck in a tree, and unfortunately you can't heal it from the tree. I wish you could. I believe that tree branch isn't even solid. Oh. This happens. It's very annoying. If you mess this up, you actually have to re-push the whole thing. There we go. And now, in this downtime from healing this rabbit, we're going to get some more copper, because we are very much going to need this later on. We are a little short on copper, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see if we can get any more rock. Very nice. And now we are in the final room. We are going to see another example of the Buddy Up launches.
Yeah, so we'll see another Buddy Up launch here. The difference doing this on a lower FPS, like 60 FPS, compared to doing this on, you know, VSync off is an absolutely night and day difference. We'll see that here. Hamster barely gets enough height to get over. If you do a similar kind of launch on uncapped FPS, you can probably be landing right about now in terms of the amount of height you get. It can be an absolute insanity.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm putting one character in a very specific spot so that he'll activate a camera pan. And I'm moving the second character to where the boss spawns. So you see that camera pan activated right away, and now I have Dory set up perfectly next to the boss, and I can just swap to him, and he's ready to hit this boss. And because we're up here out of bounds, it not only allows us to skip all of those puzzles, but we can quick kill that boss by just hitting him rather than having to use a bow character. So very nice. That's one of my favorite levels. It's definitely not easy, but when you execute it pretty well, it feels pretty clean.
Yeah, the time save tends to compound on that one, which is really nice.
Yeah, and now we have... This is really where the game starts to get good, in my opinion. This is where it gets really interesting. We do have a longer hub section here. But, sort of, in the storyline, they are figuring out... Uh-oh. There's sort of a corner cut that you do here, but I missed it. There we go. They're sort of figuring out what's going on, why are the orcs chasing them, where do we need to go. But yeah, so what I will be doing here is swapping to Gandalf because he has faster movement with his jump roll. And while I'm doing that, we will be getting hopefully the rest of the wood and rope that we need for the rest of the run. Kind of getting unlucky with only rope spawns. The wood is by far the most important material in the run. We only have
the game
9, which is not good.
The game can very easily go, oh, which one does it think you need more of, and then only give you that one. And that's not always true. You ideally kind of want a half and half split here most of the time, where you get 2 or 3 rope, 2 or 3 wood. But sometimes they can just give you 4 rope, and that tends to be a bit of a problem, especially when you're in a situation like this.
Usually there is a skip for this section as well, where you are able to launch up to this cutscene trigger early. Fortunately, we don't have quite enough FPS for this category. You were pretty close, but not quite. We're doing a lot better on wood now. If we can get to 20 by the time we get up here, we are sitting in pretty good shape. But here, they are going to read the moon map, and they're going to figure out the time frame that they need to visit the secret door in the mountain at. Probably won't have quite
Yep.
enough time to get this bush. Let's try to grab this real quick. Nothing too useful. Very nice. Yeah, very different level here. We're going to see the hovers used quite a bit.
Yeah, this first room is one of my favorite ones. It is technically a split screen section, so player 2 is not in the same group of dwarves as player 1. Player 2 is a bit further away. But what we will see here with player 1 is these hovers. So every time the attack ends, Hamster is releasing any directional input that he's holding so that the game does not check whether he's above a floor or not. And you can use that to basically get infinite horizontal distance, but also controlled infinite horizontal distance. It can be in any direction you're kind of pointing the characters, really. And we see that's able to sequence break a lot there, and then we'll see it again just at the end of this section.
Yeah, this entire first room is usually you have to do one puzzle with the characters up top, and on player 2, the characters are actually on the bottom path for the map. But by doing these hovers, these two main hovers, we can just completely sequence break this entire room. It saves literal minutes. I think 4 minutes to casual strategies, which is quite ridiculous. There's sort of been an evolution of the skips that are fast for this section as well. So it's kind of cool to see the ones that are fast and the ones that have kind of how they've developed over time. And if we do a precise enough jump here, we can sort of skip that walk around the corner and hit the camera pan early. And hopefully some of these characters should warp up to us. It doesn't look like they have. We are going to need Dory with the flail for another skip we have coming up.
Dory's not at the very end of the party at the very least. That can happen sometimes.
It can be a lot worse.
But yeah.
Thankfully, we can just let Dwalin do all of these axe plates. And now we are going to do... There's a camera pan trigger right in front of Dwalin right now. But if I very precisely jump around it, I can skip it. And now what we want to do is we are going to do another sequence break. We're going to grab this rock right here. We're going to stand in a very precise spot. And unfortunately, we missed it there. This is not easy at all. It's actually very annoying. This should work. Yep. And now we can do another cool skip. Use that. Avoid pushing down the box, which gives us another build to do and things like that. And then we can just move ahead to the end of that climbing section. Now all we have to do is just walk up his last leg. And yeah, we are almost at the end of this room. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Hamster does have to make sure to hit a particular trigger here, I believe. Yeah, that one. Which brings the other playing characters, warps them basically up to him. Because if that doesn't happen, he's not able to use the buddy plate at the very end. But we should see... Yeah, the characters have now warped up the arm. And they're just a little bit further behind.
And I'm taking a very specific route there around that rock. There is a trigger that makes you stand in like it makes you do this animation where you are like shaking because you're on top of like a moving stone giant and stuff like that. But there is a trigger that we can dodge there that helps skip that. And now the last part of this level is very easy. You just mash X once on player 1, once on player 2, and you get out of here.
Yeah, unfortunately for this, we can't use the same trick as we use in an unexpected party where we drop out, because they're different quick time events. That was a very situation-specific skip, that one, but instead we just have to mash a little bit quicker. The mashing is easier on VSync on than on VSync off, because for some reason in a lot of LEGO games, the mashing tends to scale with FPS.
Yeah. Alright, now we have... Oh, my camera, it was very weird while I spawned in there. Okay. Now we just have this section where we climb the mountain, or climb the stone giant that we... Here, we'll swap up. There we go. And this giant is very awkward to climb. You have to double jump to get up a lot of these steps, which is just awkward. It's not the easiest thing to 1v2C. I'm also just not doing it very well. And if we get lucky here, we can, we'll see if this works. I think this should be good. We will not die, and we'll just get warped over straight to the door. Very nice. And yeah,
Nice.
now we have Goblin Town. This is the longest level in the game. A lot of very cool long sections, and there's some cool skips and routing coming up here. This first section is pretty chill. We just do some parkour. We use each of the unique abilities that Bilbo and the Confused Goblin have. Confused Goblin can climb walls, things like that. Yeah, actually we can only build, usually you have to build a lot of things here, but you can only build this middle one and get away with it. Climb that wall, and we're going to build a bridge for Bilbo to get over. Now we're going to do some more resource collection here.
Yeah, we have 2 builds back to back here, which Hamster's going to pay attention to. One to end this room and one in the next room. But this first one here requires a lot of silver. I think it's 15 silver or something. So
yeah,
hopefully Hamster has enough.
We do.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's only 10.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I waited in the hub. Usually it would take 10 to 15 seconds for the boxes to respawn. That would give me more silver. But I just had it right away because I took a little bit of extra time in the hub when I had some downtime, and it just makes this level a lot easier. And now we're just gonna. Okay. Actually, player 2 is like able to move earlier. So you're supposed to get in that with player 2, but that's not the end of the world. This is called Riddle Skip. By doing a very precise jump here, called a super jump, you can slide up that slope. And now, because the goblin moves higher, you can actually grab that rope. Because Bilbo is like pulling it down, you can't do it the other way around, because Bilbo doesn't jump high enough. Yeah, we do not have enough materials. I know we're missing some copper. Still short on wood, that's what it is. There we go.
Not too much of a panic resource grind, which is always nice.
Yeah. Thankfully, the resource management has actually gone very well this run so far. I've definitely got some good RNG, but I've been planning it out fairly well. Troll Horde, before Troll Horde was a little rough, but not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I guess I should explain, like, what that riddle skip did is it let us do the last riddle before the other ones, and by doing that, it just skips the other ones. The room end check is only tied to beating that last riddle, so by doing that last one early, it just lets us skip the other 2 puzzles in that room, skip a lot of camera pans, cutscenes, just very nice skip. That is one of the oldest skips in the game, actually, so it's cool that it still is around. But yeah, we are just gonna kill these 10 orcs. Just one more left. And now we have, just to end this with Gandalf, we have to be careful not to softlock here. You can accidentally kill Gandalf before he officially joins your party. He did there, so now we're good. But if you kill him before he walks all the way over towards you, you actually soft lock because you need Gandalf for a later section. You also want to wait there to kill orcs. If you wait to kill the orc that just spawned in there, rather than killing him right away, it prevents another cycle that would usually walk towards you from spawning in. It saves a decent amount of time, because killing these orcs is very annoying. Sometimes they push you back like that. And now we have the second box that we need to drop on the Goblin King's head. Right, just one more now. Alright. Yeah, this last one requires Gandalf, and now we just use our buddy up attack to deal damage to him one more time. And now we get on to probably one of my favorite rooms in the whole game. Very, very long room. A lot of cool skips. Oops.
Yeah, a lot of cool skips, a lot of tough 1P2C as well. Especially when it comes to this kind of platforming jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see, we kind of do, I feel like it's kind of half intended, half not intended. But
yeah, we do. We
we'll
will have
see
a tough
here.
jump coming up right here. See if I can get it first try. Very nice. Oh, just barely missed it. I should get a respawn. Yep. There we go. But you can actually skip using that crank. Saves a little bit of time. Well, now we have another one coming up right here. Fortunate. We got the vertical buddy up, which is a little slower. But that's not the end of the world. But we're going to use the hover again here. Usually we need to use the slingshot on those targets up there in order to raise them back up. But we can just hover across the gap instead, which saves a little bit of time. It is a lot faster to hover with the horizontal hover. So we're also going to do one right here. This is just because we don't have the correct character. Usually you want Dory, so by doing this we skip a puzzle. This isn't strictly faster, but just because of the character RNG we had, we're kind of forced to do this. And this skips another long camera pan puzzle. And so now we can break these. And now we can use this ladder to cross the gap. We are coming up on another very large skip in this game called Goblin Town Skip. Saves over a minute. But before that, we're going to do another cool exploit. We can actually jump over this axe panel that you usually need to use to cross, to get into that loading zone.
So Hamster's going for a small skip here as well to try and jump onto this kind of swinging platform early and then jump around it. Very nicely done. Yeah, that saves a decent amount of time actually. I mean, first off saves a cycle basically, but then allows us to chain it to this second trick, which is a buddy up launch over here. And from this point on basically, this section, we will not be playing the intended way. You had some interesting physics there.
Yeah, that is kind of preventable, but very stupid that that happened. We will be doing a buddy up launch here once these orcs start to leave us alone. That's also unfortunate. Actually, I'm gonna try it. I think usually you actually do this launch with 30 FPS, so me doing it this way should make it easier. Almost got it there.
It is, yeah, one of those ones which is barely possible with the collision, and also it doesn't help when the orcs are trying to go after you, but that's the height you want. And then land up here, and then it is time to skip basically the entire rest of this section. There's a few more different sections with camera pans and such, but you can see by the trail of studs over to the right that those haven't been loaded yet. And the fact that they're not loaded does not mean that the floor doesn't exist, so Hamster's going to be able to land here, if he so chooses, and then be able to jump down I think that was a little bit too soon on the jump.
There we go. Oh, yeah, I'm not quite in the right spot. It is kind of tough to find your bearings. That's good. There we go.
There we go, yeah. The only visual cue you have there is kind of this line of torches.
Yeah.
But basically, the collision has, or the visibility hasn't loaded in, but the collision's still there. We're able to use that, and somewhere around here is the next section, and we go into the boss fight. That's a very nice skip and done decently well as well.
Yeah. And yeah, just skipping one of those transition loading zones between sections that teleports you really breaks it. Yeah, it makes sure the later areas aren't loaded in. With uncapped FPS, you can actually skip it from a section earlier, and that saves another ridiculous amount of time. Not quite something that's fast to do and restricted because you don't have the same launching capabilities, but the same idea, just skipping one of those loading zones, deloading the rest of the level from that point forward. Very cool. Now we're going to sort of kill these orcs with a spin attack, and we're going to see if I can skip a cycle here. If you stand in the right spot, you can keep him from jumping and activating a later cycle, which doesn't seem to want to work. There we go. Not the fastest, but it should still be good. Usually he'll jump 5 to 6 times there, and we managed to make him only jump 3 times, which is just a fun little time save. Sometimes you can completely make him not jump at all. It's just kind of tough to stand in the right spot at the right time. You have to wiggle over a certain spot. Yeah, we are almost done with this level. A very long one, but very diverse. There's so much going on in this level.
Yeah, this level is, I want to say, almost double the length of the average of all the other levels. It's almost like 2 levels in one, pretty much. But yeah, there's a lot of different stuff to it. But it is a cool level. And
yeah. Believe it or not, this is not even the last part of this level. This is the same room, but we do have just this falling section where there's not a whole lot to do. But yeah, now we are almost done, and we are almost done with the first movie as well. We do have sort of another very different level for that part as well. But yeah, just need this last section to break away, and then we are done with the level. There we go. Not too bad at all.
nicely done.
And yeah, almost done with this first movie. We do have a new tech coming up. Not in the first room, but alright. Jump into right here. Very nice. And now we do need to take a specific line in this auto-scroller, otherwise there is risk of crashing. And crashing is never good.
Yeah, this auto-scroller has a risk of crashing, but on the other hand, it does sort out our resources for most of the rest of the run. Specifically the wood and the rope. Yeah. We get a decent amount here. You're just going to see Hamster get probably up to around 35, 40 of each here.
Yeah,
maybe more.
Quite a large amount, which is funny because you don't actually need it. We skip almost every build from here on out. We might skip every build, I think. But here what we're looking for is a horizontal buddy up, which is very frustrating to get in this room. There we go. And now we are going to sort of get into the whole end level trigger thing. Okay, that should be a good setup. But yes, we're going to use this hover. There is a door that ends the level out of bounds over here, sort of this, the foreground of this level. Very nice. Hit it first try there. And sort of by using the spinning, the spinning of the buddy up animation. You can hit it backwards because the characters spin around it in the buddy up animation. Very cool. And now we just go through. This is more or less an auto-scroller. But what we are going to be doing is taking a lot of deaths in this section to get down to 0 studs. 0 studs saves 4 seconds to get in every level that you choose to get it in.
Yeah, that's a very niche thing compared to a lot of other LEGO games where 0 studs only saves on the first level for a lot of them. In the case of the Hobbit, you always have to see your stud count and your Master Burglar count, I think it is, the equivalent of True Jedi or whatever. You always see that on the status screen no matter what in every level. So if you collect 0 studs, then you skip it every single time, or you skip it each time you do. And it's a very nice time save to have, because it's not possible in the very first level of the game, but in a lot of the later levels we have the ability to do it. Especially as we get towards the second half of the run, there's a couple levels in a row that I know of where it's very possible to be able to get 0 studs.
Yeah. And this section is just sort of a forced waiting section, not a whole lot to it. Now Azog is back on the ground, so we can move on through this part. Unfortunately, there is no end level door for this room. There is one in almost every room in this game, aside from this one. But it's fine, it's not the end of the world. We do have cutscene coming up, and we just need to kill some of these orcs on orcs. See, we do have 0 studs from just falling off the edge a bunch of times. So yeah, 5 more wargs to go. The jump slam actually allows you to kill them in 1 hit, which is kind of cool. The jump slam usually doesn't do any more damage than any other attack, but thankfully we're able to just kill them in 1 hit, which is kind of a cool optimization. Azog turned around there just to hit Thorin, which is kind of funny. I've never seen that before. Alright, and that is the end of the first movie. Yep.
We are a little over halfway through the run though, because Goblin Town's such a long level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not too bad so far, it's all going well. And we go straight into a couple of cutscenes. And then we have Queer Lodgings, which is our next level, which is where the Fellowship first meets Bayon.
Very nice. We got like the perfect boost. If you do it just right, with VSync off, you can get boosted really far on that, just before this camera pan happens. But yeah, now the pace sort of changes of the game. It's very interesting, but now it's more buddy up launches, end level doors, just some more crazy sort of skips rather than like the weird tech that we've been using. We do start off with an auto scroller here. Unfortunately, there are a couple of these in this game, and they kind of happen to be in levels that are back-to-back. I will be trying to avoid these mini-kits, because mini-kits do add some time to the end of the level if you grab them. Not a whole lot, but in an auto-scroller like this, there's no harm in avoiding them. But yeah, avoiding anything that adds time to the end of the level status screen really is nice. Yeah, we are almost through. There's just a slide at the end over here.
Yep, and then once we get into the section itself, it's a bit of a strange section because you spawn like right next to the door essentially, but you have to go on a decent bit of a quest to be able to open that door in the first place. So we're going to see that here with Hamster. going for a buddy up launch to start. Like so.
Alright.
Gets him up to the top.
Now we're gonna jump down and hit this little trigger right here. And now I think Bilbo should be in the right spot to not walk off. I might have jinxed it there. We'll see. We do want him to stay up there. Now I can.
So basically, what
swap
we've
back
done
to him.
by
Yeah, we
Sorry.
sequence braked it. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say what we've done by depositing Bilbo at the top there is we've allowed, kind of, well, we've skipped stuff that you need to do to be able to then move a character higher up later, or up to the top later, and that's a bit of a weird stuff where I believe you've got to like use Bomber as a trampoline again and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about that now because Bilbo is in the perfect position already, although Gandalf seemed reluctant to target the right place.
Yeah, would rather hit Dory, which I don't really understand. I kind of messed the route up just a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. We do need Dory for this last bit, and then we'll see why this key is about to launch straight up to where Bilbo is. Yeah, we are going to just walk straight in the door. It is cool in free play. We have some methods to get into that door a little early and skip having to do all that 1P2C and the moving around. But unfortunately, in story, we don't have a good way to hit it just yet. Very, very close to being possible, but just not quite. Now, because Beorn is a horse person, friend of the animals, he gives us some horses to use. And now for the rest of the hubs, we will be able to use horses and Bilbos on a pony. We'll be able to use all sorts of mounts to move around faster throughout the hub.
The elven gates of
Yeah, horses are incredibly useful, but also incredibly glitchy in places. I mean, we use them in the any percent runs and stuff. They're very vital for that, but also just for this category as well, we will be able to take advantage of some small shortcuts in places. We're going to see from Hamster a small buddy drop up here at the start of this level. So I need to get the vertical buddy up, and then deposit Dwalin at the top.
There we go.
Like so.
Very nice. And now he is able to get up here. We'll see. I have not practiced this launch a whole lot, so we'll see how well this goes. But there is a cool launch here that allows us to skip a pretty big section.
Yeah, this is not a very wide margin of error for this one in terms of where you need to position for, so this might take a few attempts, but the time save is worth it off of this because this is a long section. Something's wanting to happen. Oh, not quite.
It's very close. There we go. That's probably not good enough because we need 2 people over here. It's kind of unfortunate. We did get one of them over there. We can get one more, and not quite. That is all we need because we have the hover tech. Unfortunately, not possible with... Oh, there we go.
Predictably, you get both of them over there this time, but we get to see these hovers in action rather than the really long and convoluted method that the game suggests of using Ori to be able to go on every single one of these platforms and kind of make your way around that way, which takes absolutely ages. I think there's stuff you have to do with Gandalf, stuff you have to do with Bilbo with these ghost blocks, all sorts. It's much better just to skip it. Unfortunately, Hamster looks to have had, or just about,
Yeah,
had a small drop in height, which makes that a lot more challenging to be able to land on those platforms. I thought he was going to have to skip it and just make his way direct to here, but that works out just fine. It's a small little time save if you can land on those platforms, because movement speed is faster than the hover tech. But now we have this section, which is one of the only times, really, I think it might even be the only time in the run where we really use Bilbo's invisibility ring as a mechanic.
Yeah. The only other place that I can think of right now would be barrels out of bonds. You do need it to build a wraith object. But yeah, you would be right. Really not used as much as you think it would be. At least intended-wise, we are able to skip a lot of places where it's needed.
I guess, yeah, it is a ring that Bilbo picks up from the Misty Mountains, so we'd only have access to it after Goblin Town anyway. But it's still kind of surprising to me that they don't force uses of it straight away, necessarily. I think there may be one or two, but I think even intended, there's not too many of them. Instead, yeah, we get to do more fun platforming. So we're going to see here, I believe, a small skip. Hamster does need to free these two
yeah, that's
dwarves.
what it is. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, just a little brain part there.
But then we get to see this jump across here. And
Really
Bilbo does actually have to... Yeah.
Alright.
Bilbo does have to take out the spider this time. Sometimes you can get away with not taking out that spider, and for some reason the small character hatch will be already activated, but
Yeah.
alas, not this time.
Alright, we do have another cool tech that we're not going to see a whole lot of. This is going to be backflip wall climbs. By buffering jumps with an elf, you can actually wall climb, and we can get up to that little edge early. And that
very
allows us
small
to
piece
free
of tech.
one. Really, it's used a lot in free play, and it's really cool. There actually are some uses for it in unrestricted categories, but yeah, we should get an overlap on these last two ones right here. And yeah, just like that. That is Flies and Sliders done. Another pretty interesting level. But yeah, there's a lot more just like big skips in these later levels. Alright. They are now captured by the elves, so what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to free them. Luckily, in a cutscene, Bilbo and this other dwarf got left behind, so we're going to use this campfire to switch to nighttime, so that these elves fall asleep. Usually, if you go up to the elves before you find out that you're supposed to use the campfire, there's a whole cutscene that you have to watch, but we've played the game before, so we know you just have to use the cutscene anyway, or the campfire anyway, so we can just skip that cutscene. And then we are just going to get on a horse, and we are going to make our way through Brandwheel's Kingdom.
Yeah, we'll see how good Hamster's horse parkour is right now. This is not very easy movement in the grand scheme of things. It can be quite awkward trying to fit up here, but Hamster seems to be handling it decently. Oh, never mind.
I went for the corner cut.
I didn't say
Haven't done this
anything
in a
there. I
long
didn't
time.
curse anything.
Yeah. Alright.
So one death's not too bad.
Yeah, not the end of the world.
But we will see here another build section. We haven't had one in a long while, actually. So it's we get to see the return of that. But as we get to this kind of later point in the run, the resources, we're far less dependent on them. Early game tends to have a lot more resources. But you're seeing what Hamster's done here is built the thing for the resources, put all the resources in, but has not activated the build yet. And part of the reason for that is when you put the resources in for a build, it's quicker to then exit and re-enter. It saves a second or a couple of seconds or so. But also, it's just not necessary, or it's just quicker to do this build later in the 1P2C when kind of more of your characters have been taken away from your roster as they're put into the barrels. So we'll see Hamster stocking the weapons right here. This is purely to get a bow. Why you have to do all the building of the spears and stuff to get a bow, I have no idea, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. We'll see here, there's only 2 barrels left. And Hamster will be putting the last one in.
Miss all of them there. Alright, I guess the targeting just is not on my side. Okay, there we go. And yeah, that is that first section done. The other funny thing about that build is it only costs 3 total materials to build it. It's a lot less than those other ones that require 20 gold. That one just requires 1 wood, like 1 rock and 1 rope or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah. Hamster is now using the save statue, not for any purposes of actually saving the game, but more just to get it out the way, because it is in the perfect position to stop this buddy up launch from happening. But then this buddy up launch on 60 is quite tough. Hamster will be able to get a launch relatively often, but getting the launch with the right height is quite painful. However, this saves multiple minutes as a skip, because if you go up onto the left side, there's a whole mini boss fight sequence. From what I remember from this launch in particular, there is a ceiling which you need to avoid.
If you jump, you can actually bypass the ceiling, but you have to get a jump off to get this launch. I'm not sure why I'm having problems with this, that I am. I was getting this first try.
Classic marathon luck.
Yeah, classic marathon. Oh, that one was so close. You know what? There is a backup we can do right here. And it is slower, but it's not that much slower. So let's go ahead and just do this instead.
Yeah, it's still not too bad. And this will allow him to comfortably be able to get over this kind of line of orcs that's blocking the path, and then you can skip the rest of this section just by jumping on this handle here. And now we have the mildly infamous part of this level, or this game, in all honesty. Barrels Out of Bond is known in a lot of ways for how it can crash as we get to certain parts of it, so hopefully that doesn't happen this time. I believe there is some things Hamster will be doing to mitigate it.
Yeah. There are also a lot of things that I'm doing here to try to get the best possible cycles. Pinching this inside line here a lot with all 3 characters will make him available to hit, because you're taking a better line. So he'll be farther along the track fast enough to be able to use him. And I actually got the best possible cycle there, which is very cool. So if we can get one more cycle here, it's actually a pretty decent time save. It'll be coming up right here. But yeah, just making sure the AI is taking the best possible line. Should get it. Yep. And yeah, thankfully, VSync on makes crashing a lot less of a problem. Yeah, we are through this section. Now we have a cool little camera pan coming up here. And a bomber will roll off this tree and sort of mow down a bunch of orcs. And yeah, pretty simple part right here. Just run over to this bridge. And destroy that axe plate to let all of the barrels through. And now we have another very simple section. Basically, just mash X, move to the front, and take out all of the orcs. This room has a lot more depth than the categories where you need to get the mini kits and things like that, but here, there's not a whole lot to it. Just hope you don't miss an orc, because every orc you miss is some time loss.
Yeah, this section is a strange one because I think it does loop, right? Because you need.
But it is sometimes it just soft locks while you loop it as well.
Yes.
This is classic. Classic of great game development. Definitely, this is a lot of people's not their favorite level. Thankfully, I've played it enough to where I can figure out and avoid some of those issues, but as a casual, it can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're now going into Lake Town. So getting towards the business end of the second movie, I guess. But yeah, what we're going to see here is another small little thing from Hamster, where if he chooses to do it, you can go and activate this area and then go direct to the fishing. Basically what you've got to do is put some fish in the barrels on the boat, very low poly barrels, I think, with the settings Hamster's playing. But then it means we can start this camera pan a little bit earlier and get the fish on the barrels earlier to return.
Yeah, and by placing player 2 here, I don't even have to wait for the gates to open. As soon as these fish are all in their barrels, this section will just start.
Mike has done the thing again.
Alright, is that any better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Smuggled into Lake Town.
Right, we do have a little skip right here. We'll see if I'm able to hit it. You kind of only have 1 or 2 shots at it. Very nice.
Very nice.
And now we have just another kind of intense 1v2C section.
Yeah, so this section, you have to collect all 5 of the weapons. It's not like there's any kind of fail-safe where you only need to collect a couple of them or anything. Hamster will be going for all 5 of them. We'll be sequence breaking a little bit by doing this pickup launch in the corner, which should, if it goes well, skip a build. I think that was a bit of unfortunate timing, and the launch kind of pushed him a bit further out than it should do. So see if he can do it again, but one thing Hamster's got to also be sure of is that the right characters are in the right position at each time. It's not just getting a character to a location, it's getting the right character to that location at any given point. This pickup launch is annoying though.
Yeah, this one specifically is very finicky. There is another one that I can attempt.
Yeah, basically anytime you're in a situation where you have one character in a pickup launch being controlled by AI, it just makes it exponentially more annoying, because the AI character won't be in the exact position you want compared to where you'd set it as P2.
Oh, maybe I got it here. Very nice, okay. Well, we don't even have to do that one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think maybe just starting to go for that other one might be the play. See a lot more height. We'll be overlapping these two. Oh, maybe not. I was gonna say, if you press them both at the same exact time, you can actually overlap them. It's not the easiest. It's a very small frame to actually be able to pull it off, but it does a good little time save. Be overlapping this one as well. With a little camera fan that happens there.
Thankfully, that overlap's a lot more lenient, that second one. But we'll see Hamster here.
Oh wait, he has the bow. I need him to get off. Oh, he has the makeshift bow too, I guess. I did not realize that. But this is the last one. Now we have another interesting section coming up here. With a cool skip called Pig Skip. Usually we have another section very similar to the first one, actually, where you have to free 3 animals, and it doesn't matter what order you do them in, they all need to be done. But we have we're going to take this sort of into our own hands, do a launch, and try to hit this out of bounds door. It's definitely not the easiest. Kind of stuck, aren't I?
I've never seen that happen where you got both on sides like that. That was impressive.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I have not practiced this one very much, so we'll see how this goes. That looks better. Not quite enough height.
But if you do land in the water, you get a lot better respawn, so it's a lot less punishing in that respect.
That looks better. Too much, almost. That might have been too much. Not quite enough. Oh, perfect. Never mind.
Nice.
But yeah, that skips a long section. Even though I did have some struggles there, I still probably saved a decent amount of time with it. We do have a pretty scripted section here. There are some cool skips that you can do. They're not quite possible on restricted FPS, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is quite a lengthy boss fight. I think one of the longest ones we have, but we do actually get to use the elf characters, which we rarely get to use throughout the rest of the run. But you're going to see Hamster's basically going to be trying to take some small shortcuts here, just to be able to make things better.
We have arrow skip right here.
Good. Tario didn't do the thing where she just flies back onto the arrow thing, so that's good.
Yeah, we'll be making our way over. Oh, wow.
Can I jump in with a quick donation?
Go for it.
Alright, we got $25 from Prince with the message, Two-Face demands the victory, and that this donation go towards the ABL Ice Rink incentive. So thank you, Prince. That will be the tiebreaker on that villain face-off from earlier. And that also gets us up to $40 towards the all bonus levels Ice Rink incentive for the first run tomorrow, the LEGO Harry Potter Years 1 through 4 character token rush. So thank you for that, Prince. And if anyone else has any other donations, we do have still a lot of work to be done on that incentive there, and we also have another incentive for the run right after this. If you'd like to donate towards killing the goons or saving the goons in Laser Trap's LEGO Batman, the video game DS collectible rush, you can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As little as $2 will be able to sway the decision in that kill or save the goons in Laser Trap's run, so no better time to be able to get that donation in. We are also creeping closer to hitting $1,000 total raised for this event, so let's keep the donations coming in. It's been very, very good to see so far. But yeah, Hamster's just finished off this level, and I believe there's now 4 levels left?
5, I think.
5.
Am I wrong? looking for proof. The necromancer on the only 4. You are correct. Yep.
But now we get towards the levels which probably you and I are a bit more familiar with because they comprise a decent chunk of the restricted any % category as well.
Before the sheer
Yeah.
Not necessarily these first few rooms, in this level in particular, but then after this point, we'll both be pretty familiar. We see here, Hamster's going to be doing a lot of 1p2c here, because really when you have, you know, no pairs of dwarves in your party, so in this case we've got both wizards, there's a real limitation on the number of skips you can do in a category like this. Obviously in unrestricted, you can still do some kind of height launches with like roll boosting and those kind of things. Whereas in this category, we're a little bit more limited. Hamster's doing some precise parkour around here with Radagast, which is
There we go.
very, very few pixels to be able to make that work. But that was very nicely done, and that allows us to skip basically the turn, what you intended to do on that turn. But it does mean Radagast has to solo the rest. We do that with Radagast because Radagast needs to heal this bird here.
Yeah. It's also just not possible with Gandalf because for whatever reason, Radagast jumps a considerable amount higher than Gandalf. Whether or not that was intended for any sort of reason, I don't know, but it is convenient that the person that it's possible with is the person that you need to complete the section.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll see this first room done, and we get to make our way into this kind of dark room area. That was a very nice boost with Radagast there. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. With uncapped FPS, you can actually boost and skip walking through this entire room like every time very easily. You can't get quite as much with 60 FPS, unfortunately, but still a nice boost.
Yep, and now we have a memory test for Hamster to make sure he's going the right way. It can be kind of difficult to see with these paths, but Hamster's played this enough, hopefully, to, yeah, knows the exact way to go. It's always a good sign. And then, yeah, we'll kind of head into this, I guess, kind of crypt area.
Yeah.
There's no way of skipping this kind of camera pan, unfortunately. But when we get into the final room, which is not too far away, we do see some interesting tech with Hamster bypassing a death plane. But we've got a little bit to go before we get there.
Alright. So yeah, we have to heal this bat, and once we do that, it'll sort of get on this bar that will make these little targets able to be hit, and see if I still have the memory puzzle down. This first one's pretty easy. But we can just use some 1p2c to speed these up. Alright, and just one more, and then it'll make this puzzle align. Very nice. Now we are headed into this final part of this room. We do have some more 1p2c coming up here. This level actually is definitely one of the longer ones. It has the second most rooms out of any other level behind the first one. You have to build this ladder for Gandalf, and you can actually overlap these two camera pans. Very nice. Got that third jump through. Saves quite a bit of time because the movement is so slow. And yeah, we have the skip that cap packs I was talking about earlier. where we can kind of bypass this kill plane and get down. Not the easiest. I got it there. No, I did not. Never mind. But by doing these very precise jumps, you are able to actually skip that kill plane, get down to the bottom, and skip an entire area where you're stuck walking along a ledge, usually. And just like that, we are done with looking for proof. Now we have another pretty interesting level coming up, the Necromancer. And yeah, we're definitely heading towards sort of the climax of the second movie in the end. Some more pretty cool skips in this level
The
as well.
disturbance of the tombs of the Nine confirms that
But yeah, we're just going to use the horses once more to get over to this trigger to start the level. Yeah, we're going to have some 1P2C and then a sort of new tech that we haven't seen so far in order to skip over.
Yeah, so Hamster has first got to do this room as intended, but the tech we're going to see in the next room is pretty unique, but it has the potential to be everywhere, but it's just very specific criteria that it needs. Basically, what Hamster's going to do is jump dive, and during the dive is going to be stuck in a specific bit of collision. And in that bit of collision, basically, as you're falling, your vertical speed just keeps on being increased and increased and increased. And Hamster's going to increase it for about 13 seconds, and then is going to kind of release the position by breaking one of the objects. And what that'll do is it will reflect the game for some reason reflects the falling speed into the floor, or from the floor, so it like bounces the player back up. But this so Gandalf's in the state, but is currently working on it, or building up that speed off screen. It has to be off screen. And then after a set amount of time, Hamster will on screen, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately I got an animation where it's just, it won't always work.
Yeah. There is, however, a backup for this. Another one-try backup.
Unfortunately, Radagast didn't follow me all the way over here. But I don't know why he's just call him in. Couldn't swap for some reason.
But what Hamster's going to do here is heal the bird, and then position with Gandalf on this platform. And this platform is going to be taken up by the birds, but Gandalf will stay standing on it if he is in the right position. And then from here, hopefully we'll be able to see Hamster will be able to jump dive and get behind the door by being just on the right spot. That looks good.
Very nice.
Nicely done.
Yeah, that one is definitely scary. That is a one try.
Yeah. And very quick piece of tech there. Hamster basically forced the AI to jump up to the top level by making it think that it already was at the top level. And then by jumping and then doing a switch, the AI character jumped up for him, and he was able to make it up top. Also did a precise jump with a plant on the left side. But yeah, both of those happen incredibly quickly. It's difficult to mention them in real time, but very nicely done.
Definitely a quick room for sure. Sort of do a slow-mo replay of that jump that I did with Gandalf earlier.
And what Hamster's going to do here is just one very tiny optimization, which is picking up the axe. And this axe just allows you to clear out these orcs quicker. And I think that's it. Does it have any other purpose?
No, not really. I just like picking it up. Helps make getting rid of these orcs a lot easier, yeah.
That's fair.
So now we have an auto-scroller right here before we get into the boss fight. Yeah, this level has a very weird format, but we do have a kind of interesting boss fight coming up here. It's almost an auto-scroller, not really. What we will be doing though is we're going to sort of collect all these studs. We're going to do that so that it's easier to get 0 studs. We don't have to worry about accidentally picking up any studs. And we're just waiting for Sauron to throw some of these blue, these blue objects at us. And these blue objects, they are going to allow us to have something that we can build. By building these, sort of shoot this power beam at them, and that is going to help take it down. It's not copied exactly from the movies. I'm not sure what really inspired this, but once he gets rid of this first tower, we can start taking a lot of deaths just in this downtime. And that will help get us down to 0 studs, save us an additional 4 seconds. Might as well, you know.
Yeah, it's a nice free little bit of time save we can kind of garner from this level.
Thankfully, we have plenty of downtime. Thankfully, I was already there. Sometimes it likes to target player 2, and if you're not careful, you lose a whole lot of time for missing a cycle. And now we are at 0 studs, everything's been cleared out of the way. We have a pretty weak orc, he doesn't have 3 hit points and he has 1, so we can get rid of him when we need to. We are all set up for the end of this boss fight.
Yeah, unfortunately with this boss fight, there's too little, or it takes too long for kind of us to struggle to get down to 0 studs, I guess, which means we're just left with a little bit of waiting while the boss goes through its phases, but rather have that problem than the flip side problem, I guess. We'll see Hamster finish this here. Hopefully stand in the right place to get an immediate build. Very nicely done.
Yeah,
and then
a lot of reaction time involved with that.
Yeah. We'll have to take one final death with Radagast here, and also avoid the studs that are currently spawned. Which he does, very nice. We hit 0 studs, fantastic.
Yeah. Just 2 levels left, but man, these are 2 of the best levels going on, in my opinion.
Yes.
It really does. It really ends on a high note, I would say, this category. Right away in the hub, we do have a cool skip called Icicle Launch, which hopefully I am going to be able to hit. Man, just a little low there. But this launch actually lets us take a shortcut in the hub. If you played this game before, you know usually you have to ride through the ruins of Dale on a horse to sort of just see what's going on before you get to the area that you need to climb the mountain. But by doing this, it saves a ridiculous amount of time because it lets us sort of walk in a straight line to... very nice. Just barely got it there, but that's all you need. And now we are headed to, on the doorstep. This skip coming up right here is probably one of the most iconic in the entire game, called Fast OTD. Very nice.
Very nice, yeah.
That
is...
That could have skipped
yeah.
man with that. I didn't go for it, but I could have.
Yeah.
Alright, but yeah,
no, that was very nicely done.
Buddy up launch, a little bit of slowdown. With the
I mean,
fats,
that trick has been months of figuring out a setup. Same with this one, in all honesty.
Ah, just barely missed it.
Not quite.
And we can see we're
How did-
intentionally leaving player 2 behind, and that's because we don't want them to pick up any studs, so we can have a good 0 stud setup. This launch sometimes just does not cooperate, kind of unfortunate. Only saved a couple seconds, so kind of losing some time by going for this, but it is cool.
And then
So now we
one very quick room here.
Yeah, cool tech.
Oh.
I guess we haven't seen any of it, but it's called a spin launch. Being buddied up in a tight area like that and spinning around in a specific direction can really send you upwards at a very extreme velocity. On 60 FPS, we barely have enough to get in a tight area and spin to get enough height to get up to this crank to end the level. But it's very cool that that is possible, makes that level a lot nicer. It just works out very well. And that is on the doorstep, one of the fastest levels in this category. Maybe the fastest. And just like that, we are almost done with our quest through Middle Earth, heading into just this final level, but this one is probably the best level in the run, I'd say.
This is a very cool level. I mean, it's very much split into two parts. So we're going to start off in this first part, which is more of the kind of tight force rolling section. So we're going to see a lot of the charge up attacks from Hamster here to be able to break stuff and be able to move faster. And a decent bit of like weapon management. There are some small skips I believe Hamster will be going for.
Yeah,
but
this is
basically
very much unlike
sorry.
the other roll sections, I would say. This has a lot of very interesting movement, and there's a skip on basically every platform. Kind of missed one there to get up the ladder early. There's a boost you can do as well, but we have a skip coming up right here called Statue Skip. So we will be unlocking the flail right here, and this is basically going to unlock our movement. So we can skip lowering that statue and do some of the fast spin movements here. Very nice. In this section, we actually have a camera pan skip, if you want to explain sort of how this one works.
I need to remember how this one works. Yes. Oh, yes. So at the end of this section, Hamster will be intentionally dying right at the very end, basically as the final animation is being done. Hamster's gonna roll off the edge with Bilbo, and for some reason that'll skip a camera pan in the next section, probably because the game thinks that your character has already progressed into that lower section, so doesn't then play the camera pan. It's a very strange one, but Hamster rolls when that like flail is at about a quarter full.
Yeah, it takes. There's just a bit of a delay between when the cutscene starts compared to when it's supposed to start. That's how you know the skip is going to work. So usually there'd be a very long camera pan here, and right now it's just going to look at them, and it's going to end, and we're going to be able to move quite a bit faster. We have another one coming up right here, Chandelier Skip. Very nice. And we have this is a very recent skip, actually, very cool. It's called Mega Slide. But by doing a roll boost, we can skip this camera pan that would usually be triggered by being right at the end. Just barely missed it there. Kind of got a weird bounce. Man, not quite doing it at the right time. There's a tight setup, but by rolling off this edge, you can get boosted onto the slidey part.
This is rather unfortunate.
It's very precise. Definitely not the easiest. There we go. Here, I'll go for the very safe version here. And I missed that as well.
Man, that is You are not having luck with this.
Yeah, I think this is the most I've ever missed it ever. Man, I am so close. Like that is so close to getting it. Now the save version isn't even working. I'm getting the boost. Usually the boost onto this is the hard part.
I think at this point I'd just enter the camera pan.
Yeah. I'll give it a one more go. Man. I don't know why this isn't working. Yeah. Okay, one more real try.
Last one, I promise.
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy, right here. Okay, yeah,
Nah.
we'll just call it good. We'll pretend that I hit it, but
Yeah.
we'll show off what the cutscene it would have skipped would be. I guess I just need to practice it more. But this one is quite long. Skipping it is pretty nice. Alright, and now we have been playing No Cut. Unfortunately, this cutscene is not skippable for whatever reason. The developers just did not put in the flag that allows you to skip the cutscenes. So, yeah, we just have to watch this cutscene while we wait to head into the final two rooms of the run.
So it is true. The Black Arrow found its mark. What did you say?
We do have some pretty cool, it's definitely a cool ending to the run. A lot of launches, there's some cool tech coming up here.
On this earth.
Unfortunately, yeah, this is one of the longest cutscenes in the game as well. But
Yeah, it's annoying we have to wait for this one, but it's not too bad.
it definitely
It's a good cutscene.
Yeah, it definitely adds an interesting dynamic when you are on world record pace for restricted 80%, which is the main category for this game. Definitely, definitely, like, just adds an interesting, like, you have to calm down. You're sitting here with the nerves while you head into the last, 2 minutes of the run. Definitely adds a lot of stress to it.
Take cover. Go!
Here we are, almost at the end. 3 more launches left to go, and then the end of the run.
Yes, but they are 3 of the most difficult launches we have. This first one is probably the easiest one of them, so we'll see Hamster go for it here. Very nicely done. And then we have a 1 try in this next section. Basically, we've got to pull the handle on top of the kind of column here. But Hamster's got to be half inbounds, half out of bounds to be able to get this launch.
Very nice.
And then gets the launch. Hopefully doesn't get collisioned off the top. Very nice.
Yeah, I very
And what's that-
intentionally waited to, like, move forward until the very end so I didn't
Yeah.
get knocked off, yeah.
And what that's done is that sequence broke most of this entire section. Basically, you were meant to complete the first area where we did the first launch with some dwarves, and then have some other dwarves to be able to complete the next area. But we kind of skipped the entirety of that, and instead just went through with the other dwarves, which means that characters are a little bit confused here, but it's fine. This section is always the same in terms of how many times you need to hit each of these targets. So we know it's 2 on the left, 1 in the middle, and 2 on the right every time. And then we have this section of throwing the torches. I believe Hamster's going to be aiming for the head of the torch, or the head of Smaug, to be able to hit these torches, which means he needs some quite precise timing to be able to hit them. He's going to be very carefully timing it so that Smaug's iframes just run out before the next one hits, which he does by alternating the inputs. That was very nicely done. We now have 1 final launch left, which is known as Jack Launch. This is an incredibly precise launch. We do have a setup for it, but it is still very finicky. But once this is hit, it'll be like 10 seconds till the end of the run.
Yeah, time is coming up right now.
First try.
And 3, 2, 1.
GG's.
Alright, very nice. Well, yeah, that is the end time right there. Very cool category, lots of interesting stuff. If you've ever seen the game before, this has a lot of tech from that you just won't see in any other category. A lot of it's like older stuff from when I started running the game, and I think it's cool that it still has some uses in some of these categories. But yeah, very much a fun run to sort of come up with all of the strategies to just be limited by 60 FPS 4 years ago. And yeah, there are still new skips and stuff being found, which I guess leads us into sort of an announcement.